I'm Craig Kenneth, a relationship coach and a psychotherapist. Every relationship is different and every breakup is different. Work with me and you'll get professional help on your situation. And if you're in no contact, focused on personal growth, my workbook series, The Knowledge, will help you make changes like you've never made before. Available now at AskCraig.net. Hi there, I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and in this video, I'm going to be talking to you about when the time comes, will you be ready? Now, for some of you, that's going to mean different things. That's going to mean maybe that your ex has come back and you're trying to turn things around, repair that connection. But for some of you, it will be moving on, finding somebody else that's amazing and wanting to be ready for them. The beauty in what we teach in this channel is that we really focus on helping you heal, helping you grow, giving you the skills to turn things around, to either reattract an ex or to be prepared to date new people and find somebody else that you're really crazy about. One of the things that I've seen over the years with breakups is that it truly does motivate us on a deep level. It really inspires us to grow, oftentimes more than any other time in our life. So I love that about the breakup. Unfortunately, in many ways, it seems to be the pain and the desire to get somebody back that keeps us motivated. And what do I mean by that? I mean, I would love for you guys to do it for yourself, to grow for yourself, for your future, because you are going to have a future. You are going to have relationships with other people or with your ex. But not only that, with the way we teach things, incorporating mental health, and that's why we talk about attachment styles, it kind of breaks that down simpler for you guys to digest. When you understand that stuff and you learn about the behaviors that really hurt attraction or make people feel unloved or like disappointed. I mean, it causes literally physical pain in us when we don't feel connected to our loved ones. So we're trying to give you the skills to repair with anybody and incorporate those skills with anybody. That's the beauty in what we are trying to help you guys with. And today I've got a great success story from somebody who has worked very hard in no contact. If you guys only watch the no contact videos, you're not going to really grow. Okay, you're going to be stuck in no contact, but at some point, either your ex is going to come back and you need to be prepared for that, or you're going to say, you know what, I'm going to move on with my life, and you need to be prepared for that. So sometimes it's really helpful for you to see examples of people that have gone through it. I mean, we have people that stick with the channel for years, not just to try and get an ex back, but to grow, to change their life. And it's so inspiring when we get these kind of stories. This is one that I just got, and I was wanting to share it with you guys because it's going to help you see that you've got to be ready. And many of you are kidding yourself that you're not going to have the emotional self-control when your ex reaches out. I see it all the time. I see it from people that are working on themselves. So how much you work on yourself is going to really determine how successful you are when your ex reaches out. So let me get into this email. They said to me, "You have my permission to use this success story in any way. I only ask to remain anonymous." So obviously we'll change his name because I want to protect anonymity and share great stories. They said, "Dear Coach Craig, Coach Victoria, and in memory of Coach Margaret always. Coach Craig, I am in my early 40s and my ex was in her mid-30s at the time of my divorce. I want to say thank you so much for your guidance over the years with the channel, the knowledge workbooks, and the multitude of resources you have provided. I have found your materials to be the best out there. Well, thank you so much for saying that. Please understand, we are all trained clinicians. Margaret was hands down the best therapist I've ever known, okay? I worked in the field at numerous agencies for probably about 20 years, 20 plus years, and Margaret was so good that anytime there was a problem, Margaret was usually the focal point of how to repair the situation. And I'm talking, I've sat in meetings with numerous agencies on difficult cases, and Margaret was usually the one that they were saying, what do we do here? So why am I telling you that? Because Margaret's understanding of mental health was far beyond the average therapist. She would read book after book, go to all kinds of conferences. She obsessed about understanding mental health, kind of the way that I obsessed about understanding breakups. So those two things go together hand in hand, and that's why we worked so great together. And obviously, Coach Victoria trained with Margaret for years before we lost Coach Margaret. And she was training with me as well. In fact, the first day that I sat down to record videos by myself, Coach Victoria was there. And we have a couple of videos that we actually filmed together with her just being a guest at the time. We never released them, but I think you could see a picture of it on my Instagram. We put a picture of it. You can see how young we look and how different we look back then. It's a long time ago. But I'm telling you this because we are trained clinicians and we are very serious about helping you guys. He says, in 2018, I went through a divorce after a 12-year marriage and became a single father of 2. And you can imagine how tough that is going through a divorce. You have a couple of kids with somebody, and if you don't want that divorce, it's going to be very painful. The next year, I suffered a breakup from an unhealthy rebound relationship that followed my divorce. To say that there were some difficult days ahead would be an understatement. Well, think about it. He's lost his wife, and he was a dad to those kids. Now he's gone through another breakup a year later. That's going to be a lot. Those things take a toll on our mental health, okay? The way we are as human beings is that our bond is so powerful and so strong that losing those connections is not easy, even if he wanted a divorce, okay? Doesn't mean he wanted a second breakup right away. In the mentally and physically painful aftermath of my divorce and breakup with my rebound in the summer of 2019, I discovered your channel and the knowledge workbooks, and I went into no contact. For the next year and a half, I quote-unquote did the work. After putting my children to bed in the evenings, I would stay up late to work on the workbooks alone on my own time and eventually finished volumes 1 through 10. And that is a lot of work. Believe me, that alone is a lot of work. 1 through 10 covers 97 videos. It's almost 600 pages. And it is tough questions. You watch the video, you learn, and then you're kind of incorporating yourself into those things. Sometimes it's questions about what you learned in the video. Sometimes it's how your relationship, you struggle with those areas, but it really makes you reflect. And that really causes a lot of growth. And honestly, I had no interest in doing anything beyond 1 through 10 because I thought, they're so good. We weren't going to top that. And only because we had the pandemic and Coach Victoria had to limit her time with Margaret for a while. She had all this time with training, with me. And I said, well, is there anything we could do beyond that? Because I'm not doing more workbooks. So I said, what about a course? What could we do different if there's a course? And that really allowed me to expand on ideas and come up with art therapy activities. I did a lot of research on art therapy and how effective it is. The research is really strong on art therapy. And we did cartoons and whiteboard videos, audio affirmations. We really wanted to expand on something and do something else. I spent another 6 months reviewing the materials, and since then I have literally watched every video on your channel. By the way, we have 2 channels now. So, did you watch the Breakup Essentials channel too? Probably. I've also stayed in therapy and read many self-help and relationship resources that you've mentioned in your videos. Over the last 5 years, I've largely healed from my divorce and my breakup. I remain a hard-working single dad. This is fantastic. I mean, listen to the amount of work he's doing. Whenever you're thinking, how hard am I working in no contact? Remember that there are a lot of people out here working like this. Okay? Whenever you get lackadaisical or you are only focused on where your ex is at and what they're doing, and you're trying to remember and you're trying to think, how prepared are you for when your ex comes back? Compare yourself to this guy and understand that there are a lot of people that I do calls with that are working this hard. I never heard from my ex-girlfriend after our breakup, but have come to realize it's for the better. I have maintained a healthy and effective co-worker relationship with my ex-wife towards the shared goals of raising our children. And that is healthy. That is great. Man, I wish my parents were able to do that. My mom was so hurt and angry over my dad cheating and so scared, she was anxious that my dad would try and get full custody or take me away, that relationship never healed, never repaired. It got slightly better where they could be, cordial here and there towards each other. But I wish I had grown up in this kind of environment. Although had I done that, I probably wouldn't be doing this, right? But it's often those painful things that happen to us that we want to help other people when we get older. In other words, when you're a kid, the areas that you struggled, you often want to help people and change their life, to give them what you had wished you had gotten. I've improved my relationships with my son and my daughter, who are both teenagers. I've gotten to the point where I would be happy to have a long-term romantic relationship if it ever happens, but I can also be single without falling apart, as Coach Margaret once put it. I've improved my relationships with other family and friends around me. Plus, I go on the occasional date and meet new people when I can. It all started with your channel and the workbooks, and I'm looking forward to the creative healing course next. So imagine that. He's been with the channel for over 5 years, and he did all the workbooks, and now he's still invested in himself, and he's still going to focus on the creative healing course next, which is a huge endeavor. Believe me, the course got so big. I was saying to Victoria when we were doing that, I'm like, we really got to scale back. People need to be able to finish this so they feel good about, completing the whole course. Otherwise, we've got to keep going and going. Thanks again, Coach Craig, Coach Victoria, and Coach Margaret. Today, I'm more secure, happier, and healthier in my relationships. And when and if the time comes that I meet a great partner, I'll be ready. That is a great example of a success story we like to see. Some of you may say, oh, well, he didn't get his ex back. But, after doing all that work, he's realized that he's probably better off without that ex. And that's something that you really have to consider. If somebody's reevaluating and thinks the relationship wasn't healthy, then it's better for them to move forward and move on like he has. You always want to consider, are you ready? How ready are you for your ex to come back? I know you're anxious. I know you want to hear from them. But personally, doing coaching for a long time, I would rather you guys have time to work on yourself, to commit to the growth. That way your ex comes back and you can show these changes with your behavior, not by telling them. Telling them you've grown is not growing at all. That's just trying to trick them or manipulate them or pretend just to get what you want. This is true growth right here. This is incredible growth right here. And that's why I'm so excited to share a success story like this. And I want all of you guys to grow, to learn, to change your lives from your breakup. I know it is hard. I know how difficult it is. I know how many difficult emotions you have. I know how hard it is to focus on anything else but your ex. But when you focus on the personal growth, you truly do heal a lot more and a lot faster than the people that are just watching what their ex is doing and stalking their ex, okay? So hopefully this one's been helpful to you. And of course, if you want to get my help personally, you could do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Skype. The Creative Healing course and my workbooks are only available on the website. But that's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth, and I will talk with you soon.